Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Chris Mason and Nina Warhurst.
Our headlines today. GPs in England are given extra funding to vaccinate housebound patients ahead of the government's mid-February deadline.
Workplace COVID testing is to be expanded, with more companies offered rapid results kits for staff who can't work from home.
Large parts of the UK could see snow today. It's already arrived here in Kent. The wind is whipping up too, and it's absolutely freezing.
Good morning. We have some cold days ahead with biting easterly winds. That easterly wind is also going to deliver some pretty heavy snow showers for some. More details on the areas most likely to be affected coming up.
And the Six Nations is back with a bang. Scotland beat England to lift the Calcutta Cup for the first time at Twickenham since 1983.
And yes, you did spot the broadest smile in our studio just there from Jane. It's 2 minutes past 8. Morning to you. Sunday the 7th of February. Our top story, GPs in England are to be paid an extra £10 by the NHS for every housebound person they vaccinate.
It's part of government measures to protect everyone aged 70 and over, together with frontline health workers, by February the 15th. It comes as 18 new mass vaccine centres open tomorrow. Here's our science correspondent, Palab Ghosh.
GP George Hobbs is headed out to give around 20 of his patients COVID jabs at home. They're too ill or vulnerable to come in for a vaccination. First up is Diana Garfield.
Right, OK. 1, 2, 3, go. So we'll get it in for you.
Who has heart problems and is also losing her sight.
There still is a hope in the back of my mind. However old I am, I still have that hope that something will work out.
All right, cheerio then. Bye-bye.
It's great. I've been a GP here for 27 years and they know me. So I think when they see someone familiar coming, it makes a real difference to the experience. Quite a lot of them are quite nervous, and then when they see someone they know, that's very reassuring.
Hello, hi, we're calling from Ash Tree Surgery.
Ash Tree Surgery in Carnforth in Lancashire is on course to vaccinate its most vulnerable patients by the middle of this month, but that's not the case everywhere. So GPs will receive an additional £10 on top of the standard fee for every housebound person they vaccinate.
Yes, this will be helpful. It does take significantly longer to go out and visit someone and to take the necessary time and precautions in each and every visit. And that takes people away from the vaccination centre where they could do more vaccinations in a similar amount of time. So we do need to recognise that, and it's good that NHS England have done that and provided this additional small amount of funding to enable practices to provide vaccinations to this particularly vulnerable group of people as quickly as possible.
The latest data shows that more than 11.4 million people have received their first dose. That's a rise of just over 494,000 on the previous 24-hour reporting period. At this rate of vaccination, the NHS would need to give jabs to an average of just under 393,000 people a day in order to meet the government's target of 15 million first doses by the 15th of February. And the Scottish Government has said that it's met its target to vaccinate the over 80s by the 5th of February. There are to be 18 more vaccination sites opening from next week, like the one at Blackburn Cathedral. The new sites mean that jabs are now available from more than 100 large-scale centres, 1,000 local GP services, almost 200 pharmacies and over 250 hospitals. Palab Ghosh, BBC News.
The Oxford AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine may offer only limited protection against mild disease caused by the South African variant. That's according to a new small trial.
But the firm said it believed the vaccine could still protect against severe disease. We're joined now by our health reporter, Jim Reid. And Jim, it's so tricky, isn't it, trying to weigh up how much significance we should attach to these kind of developments when often we're seeing research much earlier than we would do normally because people want to put it out there. But there's a danger of us panicking unnecessarily. What's your assessment?
Morning, Chris. Yes, so this is news out overnight, in fact, from the team at Oxford University and the drugs company AstraZeneca that have developed this particular vaccine. Now, they've been running trials in South Africa to see how well their vaccine protects against this variant first discovered there last year is one that scientists are particularly concerned about. Should point out it's a very small study, about 2,000 people. We won't get the full results until tomorrow. The more reassuring news is the company said this morning they do believe this vaccine will still protect against the severe form of the disease related to that South African variant. But as you say, in these trials, it did only show limited protection against mild and moderate forms. So what does that mean? Well, look, if these results were repeated in real life, these clinical trial results, it could mean that someone would not need to maybe go into hospital if they caught this variant of coronavirus, but it might not necessarily stop them actually catching it. And then crucially, potentially being able to pass it on to others. Look, these results are not unexpected. Tests on other vaccines have shown a very similar pattern with this South African variant. Important thing though, all vaccine manufacturers say they should be able to tweak their products to better protect against this South African strain. Nikki Kanani, who's the medical director of primary care for NHS England, was asked about that on the last hour on Breakfast.
We do know that a little bit like flu, people who design vaccines, who create vaccines, do have to keep looking at what that vaccine contains, because we often have to, like the flu, offer the vaccine on a yearly basis to reflect any changes in strains of the virus. So, you know, that is something that we're thinking about, and we're working very closely with scientists to understand what we will need to do after we've vaccinated our country in this first phase of the vaccination programme.
Also worth pointing out that AstraZeneca have said this morning they will be able to tweak this vaccine, they think, if necessary, and we should get that updated version that does better protect against this South African variant by the autumn if needed. Worth saying that this South African variant, Chris, is not widespread in the UK. There's only been around 100 cases confirmed so far, and there has been a travel ban in place from South Africa and that part of Southeast Africa since Christmas Eve.
Thank you, Jim.
Police are continuing to investigate a series of stabbings that took place in London over the past 48 hours. A 22-year-old man died and 9 others were injured in 5 separate incidents in the Croydon area on Friday night. Another man in his 20s died in Kilburn in northwest London yesterday evening. Police say they aren't connected and have condemned the violence as needless and abhorrent.
Let's talk about the weather next. Heavy snow could bring significant disruption to the southeast of England in the coming hours.
Simon is in Lyddon near Dover, where an amber weather warning is in place. How are you faring, Simon?
Well, I can tell you it is very, very cold, it's wet and it's windy, and the snow has been coming down for around 4 hours now. It's certainly settling, it's pretty icy and treacherous on the roads and pavements, but creating some picture-perfect scenes over there, a bit of a winter wonderland. But there is an amber weather warning in place for all of today, covering Kent, large parts of the southeast and also East Anglia. And we're told in certain places there could be up to 30 centimetres of snow. And it's not just the snow that's going to be an issue. We've got Storm Darcy blowing through. We're told there could be gusts of up to 50 miles an hour. Add into that really the wind chill. Although the temperature is probably around freezing, it feels more like about -7 out here. Now potentially there could be problems on the roads, rail disruption to Southeastern here in Kent have decided to cancel some services already, and they're saying to people, please don't travel at all, stay indoors, don't try and go out. Now in terms of what we're expecting, I've been contacted by some people a little disappointed, actually close to here, who say, well, where is the snow? It's certainly snowing heavily here, but in areas nearby they've largely had rain. Well, we're told potentially that rain is going to turn to snow, so if you haven't got it yet, you may well have it in the coming hours.
Yeah, and as Simon said, very nice to look at, less pleasant to get stuck in, isn't it? So do take care out there.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.